So will you please take the roll?
Yes.
right.
Commissioner Curran,
Here.
Commissioner Floyd,
Here.
Commissioner Harper, Commissioner Harper, I see you. It looks like you're still muted. There. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Let's mark him present.
Yes.
We can see
Commissioner
him.
Miletus
Here.
and Commissioner Raval,
Here.
Chairman Rosenbaum.
Here. Well, welcome to the Oregon Liquor Control Commission meeting on June 17th of 2021. And our first order of business is Christina Larue from the Oregon Brewers Council. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I really appreciate the opportunity to join you today. I know that you have a very full docket, so I will not take up a bunch of your time, hence why I didn't do a visual presentation. The last time that I was here was back in November.
Take your time. Take your time. There's no rush on it because
Okay.
just do your thing, Christina. We're all ears.
Thank you, Chairman. So in November, when I was last here, it was a very grim outlook. We were in the midst of the pandemic, and it was very uncertain what was going to happen with our industry. I'm here today to tell you that as bad as the last 15 months have been for the industry, things are looking positive. With the slow and arduous reopening of the state, we are starting to see tap rooms reopen. We're starting to see draft coming back, which is huge for our industry. I will say that our brewers have made it through the last 15 months via just being able to adapt and pivot when needed. When draft was basically eliminated overnight last March, those who could and had the ability to transition into package made that transition. Direct to consumer and home delivery have basically saved many of them. One piece of statistics that I would like to share is just the loss of sales at the year end of 2020. So if you look at the beer reports, year end 2020 versus year end of 2019, there was a loss of just over 324,000 barrels in sales within our industry. So that is a pretty substantial number to have to make up, but we are slowly getting there. I did look at Q1, and unfortunately Q1 we're still under by about 83,000 barrels, but hopefully again with the reopening of the state, we will start to see those numbers, the losses decrease. On the national level, we saw the craft beer industry saw about a 9.3% loss in 2020 sales wise, and about a 9% loss of production. So that is across our industry, across this country. Kind of gives you an idea of where we are right now. The federal funding and the state funding that we saw over the last few months has helped substantially. Many of our members were able to acquire finance monies through the PPP. Many have applied for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, but those dollars ran out pretty quick as soon as those applications opened. So there is a push on the federal side for additional funding to come into that program, and hopefully, if those additional dollars are approved on the federal level, our members will be able to access those as well. From a guild standpoint, we saw substantial economic loss in 2020 just from the loss of our in-person events. I don't know how many of you attend our Fresh Hop Festival, but that is in Portland. That is our single largest event that the Guild holds on an annual basis, and that is where we make a substantial percentage of our event income. And without that last year, we ended up losing my co-executive director. So I am the solo employee at the Guild now, and for the foreseeable future, but fully supported by the board. So we are moving forward. We transitioned from a in-person to a virtual version of our events last year. We also created what we call the State of Excitement Collaboration Project, and that was a beer project that we held quarterly last year and have continued that into this year quarterly, a collaboration beer, which we've seen about 26 to 32 breweries collaborate on, and all of the dollars from those sales come to the Guild, which has helped us to keep moving forward. We saw roughly 3,000 jobs lost across the Oregon beer industry in 2020 through current. That is direct and indirect. And when I say indirect, that includes everything from hop farmers to maltsters, distributors, and whatnot. The majority of those jobs lost, though, were directly from tap rooms and brew pubs being closed. We are hoping that with the reopening, that number we'll see those jobs come back. However, across the hospitality industry, including the beer industry, it is extremely difficult right now to hire, especially front of house and back of house employees. Our members are coming down to, paying the highest hourly wage that they possibly can, offering sign-on bonuses, and yet they are still finding it extremely difficult to be able to staff. We've seen many of them have to transition to either closing 1 to 2 days a week, which is unheard of in restaurant and tap room and brew pub world, because they just don't have the staff to be able to do that. Partially that is from unemployment. So as long as those unemployment benefits are at where they are, which we're anticipating through September, I believe, we feel that it will continue to be really difficult for them to bring on the necessary staff. On a positive note, some of our larger members like Breakside and Migration have seen growth, especially over the last 6 months, opening additional locations. That is partially because of federal funding. Many of them had to put those plans on hold last year, and so they're finally able to start moving forward, which is good. That's a positive note. I also want to thank Rosie and the entire OLCC team for the work done legislatively this year. I am blown away at just the relationship that we as a guild and the brewing industry have been able to build with the OLCC. It's always been a positive relationship, but this was a very big legislative session. And between House Bill 2264, which helped to modernize, I would say, the malt beverage definition in Oregon, along with some other pieces like eliminating the keg tag policy, and then helping nonprofits with licensing for alcohol and events, help make that a little easier. Between that and then Senate Bill 806, which will help to increase the direct-to-consumer cases per resident per month from 2 to 5. I found this legislative session to be a huge win. So thank you, Rosie, and thank you the entire team for just being willing to have those conversations and being flexible and just working together with the alcohol industry to ensure that it was a win-win for everyone. Just moving forward, feel pretty positive about the road ahead. I think once the state fully reopens, which fingers crossed by the end of June, we will start to see tourism increase. We will start to see draft sales increase. That was economically, that was a big hit to our industry. Even though they had the ability to move into package, the return on package is much lower than the return on draft. So economically, they were seeing those sales, but they weren't making the money off of it that they would see off draft. So we fully anticipate draft sales making a big return this summer into fall. And then also with being able to have in-person events. So not just the guild, but beer events in general, whether it's our members or other nonprofits holding beer events. So feel positive about the outlook for the rest of the year. And I will take any questions.
I was, thank you very much, Christina. Good report. Commissioners, any questions? I have just one. Listen, we've been bombarded with this issue of having difficulty getting staff help on all the restaurants. And I know Commissioner Floyd has talked about it too. Is it drastic or is it difficult? What, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we on this issue before the unemployment?
Chair,
Yes.
I think Christina's assessment is, she's spot on with her assessment of it relating to unemployment benefits. It is incredibly difficult. I feel that especially those in the industry are a bit cynical to come back, after we've been shut down, reopen, shut down, reopen. Well, we lay off, rehire, lay off, rehire. And I think those of us in the industry, employees, were a little cynical to come back just yet. And especially if there's unemployment benefits still there for them. So it is incredibly difficult. So Christina, that was, you were spot on there. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Commissioner Floyd. That helps me a lot. I really didn't, because I'm not there every day. I really didn't realize that. That's right. It's on, off, and that's a difficult situation. Thank you.
It's definitely felt like a yo-yo is how I best describe the last 6 months of partially reopening and then closing again and then partially. And as Commissioner Floyd said, it's just difficult to ask someone to come back to work with this uncertainty of whether or not you're going to have work for them, and then perhaps the next week you're closed again. But I think with the vaccination rate increasing and the goal for the end of June to hit that 70% and just reopen, I'm hoping that then folks will want to get back to work. But right now it is extremely difficult. And as I mentioned, there are breweries and brew pubs and taste rooms and restaurants alike that just don't have the staff to be open 7 days a week. Or many of them, Crux Fermentation Project is the last that I heard that had to close their kitchen because they just don't have the staff to be able to run it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens towards the end of this month and into summer.
Well, I just want to say one other thing. I'm an old-time Democrat. I was brought up that unions were good and that and that they served a purpose, and that unemployment was something that people needed. And so when you hear all these things about the fact that the industry people are staying home, it's really not true. And Commissioner Floyd, thank you. That enlightened me. Thank you.
I would like to also say that, Christina, you're also right about, many of my counterparts are closing Mondays, Tuesdays, Sundays, Mondays, opening limited days, limited hours, because they just can't find staffing. So it is a major issue in the industry. And it is interesting to hear, Christina, that it's trickling down to also our brewer partners too. So thank you.
Well, and one more interesting piece, just to kind of put it into perspective, in order to equate what some folks in that industry are getting from unemployment, it equates out to roughly $25 an hour. And so if you look at where we're at and industry-wide and the economic impact of the last 15 months, businesses just can't afford to pay that type of hourly wage to bring folks back on. So it's a very interesting time to be in as far as being a business owner or manager.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commission.
Rosie, you're up. And I was very pleased to hear Christina's comments. It says a lot, and especially for a freshman lobbyist, if that's what the term. So welcome again. Come on.
Thank you, Commissioner Rosenbaum, members of the commission. I think adapting the lobbyist term is a little interesting for me. Thank you so much. It has been an incredible session, as Christina mentioned, but not at all possible without the incredible staff here at OLCC. Really brilliant set of people who are extraordinarily responsive to the legislators up on questions. So it is definitely a collaborative effort with the legislators as well. We started out the session with over 100 bills that we were tracking, and roughly about 24 of them have passed or either signed by the governor and pending in Ways and Means and moving forward. A few of the notables, I think pretty soon we will start the commission meeting by saying welcome to the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission in House Bill 2111. That is a major feat. The House Bill 2264 that Christina mentioned, again, we've been calling that the Croy amendments. It's Dan Croy have worked behind the scenes for a number of years on a number of technical changes that we needed at OLCC, and through Representative Wilde, we're offered a bill and collaborated with all the issues in one omnibus package, which also included our work with tribes and airlines. So that's also included in 2264, and that was on the behalf of the governor, on behalf of OLCC by the governor's office. Another big notable is codifying the compensation into statute for our distillers and agents, liquor agents. And I believe Chris Mayton will probably discuss that a little bit further. On the marijuana side, massive accomplishment there. Yesterday, we heard a few notes from the legislature on the importance of House Bill 3000. Director Marks may discuss that a little bit more as well. But those are the big notables. As for now, we are able to get our regulation of inhalant as well. A number of different things that OLCC asked for in order to be efficient and effective in the coming years. So that's it for now, and I'll leave it up to the commission if you have any questions for me.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioners?
Chair?
Commissioner Floyd?
Rosie, what did we say? What was the acronym? What's our new acronym now? Not OLCC, but it will be OBLC. Is that what it is?
No, it's still
No,
OLCC.
still OLCC.
So, yeah, still
It's
OLCC.
OLCC, but it's Oregon Board of, say it again.
Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission.
Gotcha.
So it's just a from control to cannabis.
Gotcha.
Just so reflecting who we are moving forward.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Well, keep up the good work, Rosie. It's I've heard some very, very good things about you, and we're proud of you. So thank you. Seriously, you're doing a great job.
Yes.
It's nice to be able to say that. I like that. Bye-bye. Okay, Chris, you're up.
Well, good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Chris Mayton, and I am the Distilled Spirits Program Director for the Oregon Liquor Control Commission. I'm here today to provide a warehouse and headquarter relocation update. Our request for information, or RFI, closed back on April 29th, and we did receive a total of 11 responses. Of those 11 responses, 4 of them met the criteria in which the agency was looking for a relocation. A handful of our staff went out and toured all 4 of those locations on May 24th. Mind you, all of those locations were just land only, so we were looking at transportation and logistic spotting. And then Dash Real Estate has offered to take all of you, anyone who wants, on a guided tour. You can contact Christy Scott directly. Be happy to take you to those 4 properties and show them. Our next steps right now is we are working with Dash Real Estate to develop an RFP that will be released to those 4 properties that met the criteria. We won't do that though until the end of session. We have to make sure that the budget for the bond bill is approved. So that's going to be a couple more weeks. And then we will release that RFP. And then all 4 properties will then begin to negotiate with Dash and our agency to help us make the final decision, which you all will be absolutely informed with along the way. So site selection should occur sometime this fall, I would imagine. And then we start the process of design with an architecture, and hopefully start construction maybe late next year. But that's kind of where our update is. And then as Rosie said, I'll just give you a brief. I wasn't planning to do a ledge update, but I can tell you some exciting news for retail services, because House Bill 2740 and Senate Bill 316, which are the Retail Agent Compensation Program and the Distiller Tasting Room Retail Outlet Agent Program, both of their new compensation plans were approved through the full Ways and Means Committee yesterday with a unanimous approval, 23-0. So the next step for that is to go to the House floor and receive Senate and House approvals. So it's not done yet, but we're one step closer. So exciting news for the retailers in the state for distilled spirits. And that's it. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, and Chris, next time, if you're in a place where you can't do it, that's fine, but I would prefer you get on so we can see you for the next time. But I understand if you can't, you can't.
Oh, you can't see my video?
Nope.
Oh,
At least I can't. I don't know where you are even.
So,
sorry.
I can. Rosenbaum.
Chairman, you can change your view at the top in the middle.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. My mistake then. I apologize. So any questions,
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioner Revolt.
Commissioner?
Good morning, Chris.
Oh, there you are. Good.
Good morning.
Chris,
Good morning, Commissioner.
if considered all things moving properly, when do we, back on our schedule from over a year ago, what's our time frame from we'd like to put shovels in the ground and have a facility up and running in order to avoid losses due to the situation of not being able to serve our clientele?
So Chairman, Commissioner Raval, once we begin construction, which I'm estimating right now should be late next year, we would expect to take occupancy sometime in 2024, and that meets our timeline that we set. Remember, we are a little bit delayed. We were intentionally delaying the build because we have to align with the IT enterprise update for infrastructure changes, and that pipeline takes a little bit longer to get approval going through stage gate processes. So a new build typically takes 12 to 18 months typically, but we had to slow that down to 2 to 2.5 years to meet the stage gate timeline. So we would be looking sometime, I would guess, in the fall of 2024 when we take over occupancy of the new building.
Thank you.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Commissioner Harper?
Hey, good morning, Chris. I'm so happy to see you. I had one question. I just want to say thank you for the commission to look at a location that's within the 10-mile radius where the current location is. All the locations are within a nice within a nice mileage area compared to Milwaukee. So thank you so much. And the I-5 corridor is phenomenal. My question again is that, well, my question is in regards to the movement of the building. There's 2 buildings currently occupied by the OLCC. Are we going to maintain both those buildings, or are we going to close one first phase and then close the other second?
So Chairman, Commissioner Harper, the intention today is to put the 2 buildings, Milwaukee Headquarters and Millport Warehouse, up for sale at some time in the future. That time has not been determined yet. But once we move out of these locations, there will be no need for us to have these 2 locations. And as most people are aware, real estate prices in the commercial market are skyrocketing. So there's a lot of value in these buildings to the state to get that money back.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have one request and I have one question. The request is, Chris, once the RFP is completed, would you take the initiative of inviting all the commissioners, to come and look at the 4 facilities, and then they'll have an opportunity. Once the RFP is done, I want you to write a letter to all of us inviting us to come see the properties. And second of all, Kelly, under the Freedom of Information Act, this real estate deal is not subject to the Freedom of Information Act, is it?
Good morning, Chair Rosenbaum. For the record, this is Kelly Rout, Director of
I'm
Administration.
sorry I surprised you. Your eyes went up.
I was listening, though. And I don't have an answer for you right now. Because I just don't know.
Okay.
We're dealing with procurement and RFIs, and I'm just not as familiar with those off the top of my head. So I will look into it. Jared, but just so that I understand, the question you're asking is whether the information that we're discussing today about the locations is exempt from disclosure under the public records law?
I'm pretty sure it is, but I'll wait to hear from you. And here's the reason I asked the question. Because it's a real estate deal, and I don't believe that it's subject to the Freedom of Information Act and the Open Meetings Act too, for that matter. Would you check and see whether or not we could come as a group, if we could arrange it, to look at all 4 facilities at the same time, and so it wouldn't violate the Open Meetings Act?
Chair Rosenbaum, yes, I will look and see what the public meetings law discusses about that, and we'll get back to you on whether it needs to be individualized or can be done in a group setting.
Yeah, I would like to do it in a group session for all of us so that we can talk to each other and have each other's ideas at the same time. I think that would be, valuable. I don't want, I've said this too many times already, and everybody's got the idea. I do not want this commission and myself just to be presented as a final act, which property. I really want us all involved in the decision-making process on this. And Chris, I know that you're going to keep us informed, all of us. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll make sure to get a letter to you when that RFP is ready, and we'll get you the answer on the group invite or individual for property tours.
Good.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, my favorite employee, Nikki, you're up.
I'm here. Good morning, Chairman Rosenbaum and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Nikki Leslie, Distribution and Purchasing Director. Before I proceed, I would like to take a few moments to really give a shout out to my distribution staff who continue to show up and do the work, even as short staffing that we have been, to ensure that we get the cases out the door to the consumer. That's all I would like to say on that. And I'm here today to present before the Commission the product listing activity for the month of March, April, and May. Under tab 1, you'll find a detailed list of product activity during this period. Staff recommend the Commissioners confirm the 55 items on the list, and I'll be glad to answer any question you may have.
Commissioners?
Chair Rosenbaum.
Commissioner Harper.
Hey, prior to our vote, Nikki, I'd like to ask, how is it possible to process 9,448 special orders within that? Is that 3 months or that you did that?
That is possible. We have over 2,500 special order items currently. That's currently in, and then we set up new special item on a regular basis. Sometimes depending on the month, could be between 10 to 20 items per month. And some of those that exist get reordered, and we process that each time. Yes, it is possible.
Thank you, Nikki. I just wanted to highlight the phenomenal work and the updated technological advances that we have at the OLCC. And I know for sure Chairman Paul is going to continue to talk about the computer system and processing those 9,448 special orders. So thank you very much.
Any other commissioners have any comments?
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioner Revolt.
Commissioner?
I look forward to the time when we can go to our conferences and I can pass out Nikki's cards to as many prospective individuals as I possibly can. I know how much she enjoys me doing that. So I'm looking forward to it again.
Nikki, do you have any idea of how easy it's going to be with the new IT system in there? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
I am so looking forward to. I'm counting the day. I'm hoping it will pass. I'm so excited to be able to operate in one location. That it will reduce to make us much more efficient without having to transport product from one warehouse to another. I think it is. I can't tell you how excited I am for this to happen. Yes, I'm looking for a way of how we can even streamline it much more.
I'm just reinforcing Commissioner Harper and Commissioner Rovell's. Thanks, dear. I need a motion if there's no other. Commissioner Harper.
I move to confirm the 55 items for March, April, and May.
Thank you, Commissioner. Please take the roll.
Commissioner Curran?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Harper?
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus?
Yes.
Commissioner Revolt?
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Yes. Nikki, thank you again. Michael, you're up. Let's take the alcohol violation first.
Good morning, Chair Rosenbaum,
Good
members of the
morning.
commission. Michael Shine, Lead Worker, Administrative Hearings Division. On behalf of the division, we propose one stipulated settlement for alcohol for your consideration.
Commissioners, any questions?
Chair Rosenbaum,
Commissioner Floyd?
quick question. This is on the permittee, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, just a quick question. What happens in the event this permittee moves? Does she work with the commission then on granting permission to still have her permit?
Yes, she would have a restriction on her permit that would only allow her to work at this particular premises. If she wanted to change her employment within the industry, obviously, she would not be able to do that without requesting that the restriction be lifted.
Okay, so it would have to be lifted entirely instead of just moved to another premises.
Well, I guess I misspoke. She could request that it be modified also.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I'm gonna say something off the wall different, but I want to hear your response. Look, I'm the last person in the world that would deny anybody a right to make a living, especially if they have a drug or alcohol problem, if they want to work. That's not the issue. But don't we have an obligation to do everything we can to help any individual who does have, this individual has 2 previous drug violations. There's a problem here. You're giving a license. So let's take a look at what they do with AA. If a person is sentenced by the court sometimes takes a look at it and says, hey, we'll consider you coming back here as long as you go to AA and you go to Alcohol Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, and you have to sign in and do your work and then show us that you're really sincere about it. The question I want to ask, it just really dawned on me reading this, is why wouldn't the Liquor Control Commission give a stipulation to the same thing? If you want a license, go to Narcotics Anonymous. There's 2 previous violations. We're doing this person a favor by asking or demanding them to go to it in order to keep their license. And if they're sincere about it, they'll do it. So I don't see any legal obligation for us. Why don't we do something like that in the future?
Chair Rosenbaum?
Yeah.
Commissioner Harper, there's a larger issue involving cases such as this, and we know that you consistently have voted no against it. But this is a conversation in regards to behavior, which as a commissioner, I don't feel that in any employment we can regulate or rule behavior. I hope that we can have a larger conversation about this offline, so we can totally discuss the type of rules we look at in the type of enforcement orders that we can present. This is a larger issue than just a 4-hour meeting. But I'm really I really feel good about what we do at the OLCC in regards to not getting deep into the behavior of our customers or our licensees, but the rules that have been set by the state. So hopefully we can have a larger conversation with this and continue to invite our partners with the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and other agencies that can help us totally understand behavior. But I don't feel that it should be a part of what we do at the commission. I think we should stick with the rules.
I want to make a distinction. I have consistently voted against people that had nothing to do with drug and alcohol issues, that had to do with the fact that they couldn't control their bars and that they went to a restricted license. That's totally different from this situation. However, I do agree with you, Commissioner Harper, that this is a much bigger issue that needs to be discussed. And I like to throw things against the wall and see what sticks and what doesn't. And I think that this is a very important issue, that if, the Drug and Alcohol Council has talked many times about the fact that maybe the public health issues and the concerns about drug and alcohol, we don't take as seriously as some other people do. And this is a good opportunity to talk about it somewhere in the future. So I agree with you. It shouldn't be done today. I will certainly vote to give this person their license, but I do want to bring this up in the future because I think we're doing them a favor, not anything else. And I think this is a conversation we should put on the agenda for us to talk about one day. So I appreciate that, Commissioner Harper. I think you're right. This is not the place to do it, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, this is Steve Marks, Executive Director, OLCC. I just wanted to point out, when we look at these things, we kind of, in part, and we should go through and have that discussion that you want to have about this, because we look in part at what they've done, the good cause. And part of the good cause is you've been a part of these programs. You've taken personal responsibility with your, in this case, even with the employer, right? They want to keep this employee. This employee has gone through programs. So we should have a look at what we look at in that good cause and how that fulfills our responsibility, I think, to these folks that do have problems, for their opportunity to continue employment. Because in some people, for some communities, this is, the only job they're going to have for their family. And it's important.
But Commissioner, Director Marks, we're not taking away that opportunity. We're ensuring that they're going to do it, because if that's the only job they have to support their family, then they'll go and deal with that issue a lot better in terms of if they're responsible or have to report to a court or something else that says, yes, you're serious about it. And by the way, we want to make sure that we're helping you, not hurting you. That's the important point here.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So appreciate that, and we will make sure that we put on the agenda that discussion for us.
Okay, and can we have this discussion off record, or do we need to have it on at a meeting?
Probably at a meeting, sir, but it can be one of our informal work sessions. We used to do those lunches. We can do something like that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I need a motion, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum,
Commissioner?
Commissioner Harper, I move to ratify the stipulated settlement agreement for Ashley Richer as proposed by staff.
Please take the roll.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Raval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Yes. Okay,
Chair
let's
Rose-
take the I'm sorry.
I was going to just propose 6 stipulated marijuana settlements for the commission's consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, commissioners? No questions? Let's take the roll.
Commissioner Kern,
I move to ratify the.
We need a motion.
I move to ratify the stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff for marijuana.
Commissioner will take the roll, please.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Raval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Yes. Michael, we got one left.
Yes, Chair Rosenbaum, members of the commission, we have 2 stipulated marijuana licensing settlements for your consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioners? I have one question. What is the relationship between on sweet leaf cannabis? What is the relationship between Jerome Wheeler and Cindy Standish?
Jeremy Wheeler is the son of Cindy Standish.
So we're giving Cindy Standish the right to run the shop as long as the son, who's proved ineffective many times over to run the shop, as long as he stays out.
That's correct. Subject to the 3 conditions, not allowing Jeremy Wheeler to take any part in the operation or management, not allowing Jeremy Wheeler to be an employee or agent of the business, and not allowing Jeremy Wheeler to be on the licensed premises. Jeremy Wheeler, my understanding, has a financial interest in that. He's the owner of the property, or at least his company is the owner of the property, and therefore the lessor to this business that is proposed to be licensed.
So what policing methods do we have, if any, to make sure that that's enforced? This is a mother and son operation.
Yes, our public safety staff makes unannounced inspections of the premises, and we'll be keeping an eye on this.
Okay. And Commissioner Harper, this is exactly the type of case that I vote against. These are the ones I vote against. Okay. I need a motion.
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioner Harper.
Commissioner Harper.
I move to ratify the 2 licensing stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff.
Okay, take the roll, please.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Oval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
No. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Madeline, you're up. The 2021 alcohol bill and technical fixes package.
Good morning, Chair Rosenbaum and
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
For the record, my name is Madeline Kane, Policy Coordinator for the Oregon Liquor Control Commission. Today, I have 2 initial actions and 2 final actions for your consideration. The first rule package for your consideration is the 2021 Alcohol Bill and Technical Amendments Initial Action. During the 2021 Oregon legislative session, the Oregon legislature introduced several bills amending and establishing statutes that will require administrative rule changes. This package addresses both the changes being made this legislative session and technical issues that have arisen with the liquor rules divisions. This rulemaking action will permit staff to initiate rulemaking hearings on key issues. This package includes several bills and their anticipated changes pending passage, as well as bills which have already gone into effect. As rulemaking proceeds, staff will provide updates both on the status of any unsigned bills as well as further information on this rulemaking action at the upcoming July and August commission meetings. At this time, staff anticipates amendments to divisions 5, 6, 9, 10, 13, and 15. With that said, staff is standing by to answer any questions you may have about this action.
Okay, we're going to take those 2 first. Commissioner, any questions? Commissioner Miletus?
Are we going to be holding rules advisory committees on both of these?
Yes.
What month do we anticipate that? You said July, August. Or is that's when we'd be having the racks, or would that be later?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner Miletus. It is our intention to have these rules passed as of January, so that gives us a few months. So we'd be expecting rules advisory committee meetings within the next 2 or 3 months.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Chairman Paul, Commissioner Harper.
Commissioner?
Madeline, is a couple of rule changes. Can you sort of advise me on the statute? You said that the Oregon legislators, they vote on these, and then we at the commission, we go through our rules and we adjust them. Can you give me that process again? I know we had Rosetta down at the legislators listening. So can you sort of give me an example? Say, for instance, the House and Senate approve a change, and then it comes back to us, and we just write the change in, and you present it to us.
Good morning, Commissioner Harper. Yes, that's exactly right. So they make changes, and that will make us have to make changes to how we administrate the program.
Thank you. And a question in regards to having a rack. If the state creates a rule, or they make a legislative change, why is there a rack created?
Commissioner Harper, the racks are for making sure that anyone that would be impacted, especially financially impacted, have a chance to weigh in on how we write our rules. So that's why we host a rack, to make sure that those stakeholders are involved.
Oh, excellent. It's a statewide business involvement. I truly appreciate that. Thanks, Madeline.
No problem. Thank you.
If there's no more questions, I need a motion on the 2021 alcohol bill and technical fixes package first. Commissioner Floyd, you got it in front of you? You're looking, I know.
I know you guys put so much pressure on me.
You got it, Harper? Would you like me to?
We got to spread it around a little bit, Commissioner Harper.
All right. Well, you know, I keep it up. I got 4 pieces of technology here, and I'm hopeful that when we make that technological change, Chair Rosenbaum, we can all at the commission, all of us commissioners, receive new equipment. So if Commissioner Floyd, if you're not ready, I got it in front of me.
I got it. Chair Rosenbaum, I move to initiate rulemaking on this matter and to hold a rulemaking hearing at staff's discretion.
Please take the roll.
Oh, Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Melenas,
Yes.
Commissioner Raval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Yes. Need a motion on the 2021 marijuana bill and technical fixes package.
Excuse me, Chairman, would you mind if I read the language into the record?
No, not at all.
The second rule package for your consideration is the 2021 marijuana bill and technical amendments package initial action. During the 2021 Oregon legislative session, the Oregon legislator introduced several bills amending statutes that will require administrative rule changes to the Division 25 rules. This package addresses both the changes being made this legislative session and technical issues that have arisen within the marijuana rules division. This rulemaking action will permit staff to initiate rulemaking hearings on key issues. This rule package includes several bills and their anticipated changes pending passage, as well as bills which have already gone into effect. As rulemaking proceeds, staff will provide updates both on the status of any unsigned bills, as well as further information on this rulemaking action at the upcoming July and August commission meetings. With that said, staff is standing by to answer any questions you may have about this action.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
Before we make that motion, Chairman Rosenbaum, I'd just like to share a comment. The people in the marijuana business seems to be not up to date as the people in alcohol in regards to bill and technical amendments and changes. Is there any way that we can update the marijuana people more in regards to these legislative changes, because they're so new, so fresh, and that's the first excuse a lot of these business owners have. I know we at the commission don't typically and normally mail out mailings, but is there a way we can just share with them, please look at, you know, these changes and how they would affect your business?
That's an excellent idea. We have to hear from Director Marks, but you know, that brings to my mind, Commissioner, maybe it's time again, sometime over the summer and the fall, to hold some meetings across the state like we did 2 years ago, and let people come out and ask whatever questions they have, especially in the marijuana field. And that's another thing we should put on the agenda for consideration. That I think that's something that the commissioners, if there's any opposition to it, let me know. If not, I think we should hold some hearings across the state the way we did 2 years ago. And thank you, Commissioner Harper. I think that's excellent. Steve, you want to respond to that, please?
Nope, I think that is an excellent idea. You know, we do have a lot with cannabis. We do communicate regularly there. I think we just have a ton of stuff to communicate out of this session. So I think it makes a lot of sense for us to get out into the field, and we'll work to accomplish that with you. The one thing I would note is we have a lot of continuing work right away at the end of the session with the implementation of 3000. Which, you know, is going to be contiguous for us. We're going to roll right out of passage of the bill right into immediate enforcement. So there will be some significant work in Southern Oregon, you know, immediately. So that might be a place to start.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Steve, I'm going to leave that up to you and staff to work out the details, okay?
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioner Raval.
Commissioner?
This is where Commissioner Raval gets to be the wet rag again. In that 5 years ago, we had meetings all over the state. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So I'm all for additional education, But 5 years into this, 6 years into this, these individuals need to understand that this is a business. These are the rules. These are the regulations. And if you can't stay up on your own business, maybe it's time for you to get out of the business. So I'm all for the educational piece, but as I have said many times, this is not the Wild West. This is not Cheech and Chong, as some of them seem to believe that this continues to be. We have a situation that is always been an issue, back even in my day in Southern Oregon. So if education doesn't work, and we're about to have new rules coming into effect immediately and therefore enforcement immediately, the information needs to go out is these are the rules you should know. And whereas if you can't get along, it's time to get on. So there it is, Commissioner Voll's wet rat comment of the day.
Commissioner Revolt, your comments are spot on in terms they're rational and they're reasonable and they're right. However, from my point of view, if we do go out into the field, we're just saying more than anything else that we're concerned. We understand, here's an opportunity for government to help you, and we are concerned. We're here to listen and give us an opportunity to do so. That's rare. That's what I like about this commission, is that we can go out there and do that. But your comments are spot on. I don't disagree at all, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't go out and do it anyway. That's my 2 cents. Okay. Where are we? We need a motion on the 2021 marijuana bill and technical fixes package. And Commissioner Miletus, pick out one of the 2 on the final actions and read the motion on that one, but we need a motion now.
All right. I move to initiate rulemaking on this matter and to hold a rulemaking hearing at staff's discretion.
Very good.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Revolt,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Yes. Final actions on the drinks to go.
Okay, so the third rule package for your consideration is the drinks to go final action. During the 2023 special legislative session, the legislature passed House Bill 1801, which allows holders of full on-premises sales licenses to sell and deliver mixed drinks and single servings of wine and
Did we lose it?
containers for off-premises consumption. At the 2021 legislative session, Senate Bill 317 was. I'm sorry, did you say something, Chair?
I lost you for a second, but that's all right.
You glitched a little, Madeline, so you may want to
Can you
start.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
I'll start again. At the 2021 legislative session, Senate Bill 317. You can hear me? Sorry, everyone.
I'm off.
Okay. At the 2021 legislative Senate Bill 317 was passed, which made these sales and delivery privileges permanent. These 2 bills require the OLCC to establish administrative rule. The language in this rule establishes the following parameters. The amount of distilled liquor, mixer, and wine in a container. Mixed drinks and wine must be accompanied by a substantial food item. Order and payment requirements, delivery requirements, and the use of a third-party platform, and the requirements for notices and labeling. With that said, staff is standing by to answer any questions you may have about this action.
Commissioners?
There are just a couple. So are there any major changes? I didn't notice a ton of major changes from the temporary rule to the final rule. Is there any that I'm missing that you can highlight?
Thanks, Commissioner Miletus. I think you're asking if there's changes in just the rule language, not the legislation. Is that correct?
Yeah, because my only concern going into it was I had some concerns on the definition of a standard serving of wine, which I know there isn't necessarily any definition. I don't know if that is our rule or if that is in law.
So in terms of the pouring of wine, I might ask Devin Morales or Kelly Rout to better answer this question, but I think that's an amount that we came up with. Is that right, Director Rout or Devin?
I can take this one. So commissioners, for the record, Devin Morales, alcohol policy analyst. The serving of wine is based on sort of standard practice. You know, we have control plans and that sort of thing where we set out serving volumes for different types of alcohol, and that's in alignment with that standard serving that we use in those cases.
All righty. I just was curious.
Chair Rosenbaum,
Commissioner Floyd?
I have a quick question. Devin, it's so wonderful to see you. Hello, haven't seen you in a while. Quick question. Now, do these licensees have to have also an O license, or can they use this in conjunction with their FCOM, their full on-premises license?
Commissioner Floyd, commissioners. So the rule itself is, you know, the privileges of delivering drinks to go and selling for off-premises consumption, the cocktails containing distilled liquor, those are privileges that come with the full on-premises license. So no O license needed. And then as an aside, House Bill 2264 actually gives the full on-premises licensees the privileges, you know, this is just for your FYI, of an off-premises sales license anyway. So now we're moving forward with not even needing an off-premises license for delivery and off-premises sales of beer, wine, and cider by the full on-premises licensees.
Oh, okay. Great.
Just as an aside.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Chairman Rosenbaum, Commissioner Harper.
Commissioner?
And thank you so much, Devin. Especially thank Commissioner Floyd for keeping us in not only involved with these issues, but also informed. I just like to mention for the record that I have looked at a number of letters from people that were pro drinks to go, and a lot of people that were against it. And again, I want to say that this is one of the issues that's pretty much saved a lot of businesses. And I again want to thank Commissioner Floyd for keeping me informed. I have one question. Again, I talked earlier about getting this information out to our owners. And this again is an issue. I mean, if Commissioner Floyd says, "Oh, really?" I hope that we get this out to all of our owners out there and people in the the restaurant and business world, and especially our first speaker, so that she's able to get it out and get the word out to the people that she touches. So thank you, directors, for this information. I look forward to the vote.
Any other questions? Is Bill Schutte there? Bill, do you have your mic? Can you get on if you're there? I guess he's not there. Anyway, Steve, my question is, has anybody done a fiscal analysis of this bill in terms of the different allocation of revenue that's going to happen, and how significant is it? It may be the same. It may be the same dollars, but it's going to be allocated differently. I'm putting my CEO hat on now. I'm real curious about what the mix of the revenue is going to be.
Chairman, all the legislation have a fiscal, but that mainly looks at our costs. I don't know how deep
Right.
into the revenue.
No, I understand that. I was just, that's why I asked Bill whether he did any fiscal analysis of it, because I think everybody's going to be interested in that, especially the restaurant, the bar owners, everybody else. There's going to be a difference.
Yeah, and I actually believe, and Rosie could confirm, I think the industry talked about the benefit that it would bring them and provided some evidence in the process about how it benefited their business in terms of their revenue and the revenue to the state. But I don't know that we translated it into a state forecast difference.
Well, there's only so many dollars that goes out. If somebody's going to benefit, somebody's going to be hurt by it. It doesn't make it, that's not my point on here. My point is I'd love to see the fiscal analysis of this if anybody's done it. If they haven't, no problem.
We'll look for it, sir, and provide it to you if it's been produced.
And make sure the commissioners get it, and especially Commissioner Floyd, I'm sure that, and Commissioner Miletus, both of them would, I'm sure, want to see this very carefully.
Chair
Okay.
Rosenbaum? Oh, Rosie, I'm sorry. Did you have a comment?
No, I just, for the record, Rosie Shatkin, Director Marks mentioned, just in case you had any questions for me with regards to the impact. We do the revenue and fiscal offices, the LRO and LFO for the Legislative Assembly said any impact on both sides, revenue and fiscal, would be minimal at best, and they would probably need more information for their legislative analysts to report back.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that, but I understand. All right, we need a motion.
Chair Reval, did you have a comment? No, I saw you're unmuted. If any of my other fellow commissioners wouldn't mind, it'd be an honor for me to make this motion if you all don't mind.
Yes, of course.
All right. I move to adopt OAR 845-006-0399 effective June 22nd of 2021.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
A resounding yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Reval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Unanimous, yes.
Okay, so the fourth and final rule package for your consideration is the mediation confidentiality final action. So this rule will permanently amend the mediation confidentiality rule to adopt the state of Oregon's mediation confidentiality model rule as described in OAR 137-005-0052 and required by ORS 36.224 subsection 2. ORS 36.224.4 authorizes agencies to adopt the Attorney General's model rule without undergoing the notice and comments procedure in ORS 183.335. As a result, this rule is being presented directly for final action. With that said, staff is standing by to answer any questions you may have about this action.
What's the practical effect of this?
Thanks, Chair. I'm going to direct you towards Director Rout. She can probably answer that better than I can.
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioners, for the record, Kelly Rout, Administrative Hearings Division. Yeah, so the practical effect is just that our rule will be modernized. It was out of date. It was basically copied mediation confidentiality language from DOJ model rules from many years ago, like probably 15 to 20 years ago. And those rules have since been changed. So our rules were out of date. So this just allows us to adopt the model rules, and the effect of it is that, you know, we're the agency to enter into mediation. Those discussions would be complicated. So it's just a housekeeping matter. We noticed it was out of date, so we are bringing it up to date.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Who wants the final one? Let's give it to Commissioner Harper. Come on. He loves
All
it.
right, thank you so much. Mediation is very good to me. I move to adopt OAR 845-001-0008 effective June 18th, 2021.
Please take the roll.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Harper,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Reval,
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now, one other thing before we go to Steve. On behalf of all the commissioners, I really want to thank staff again. Seriously, you guys are great. Every time I have a question, I know who to go to. We get responses quickly. It's very much appreciated. None of us take any of you on staff for granted, believe me. And without you guys, we really couldn't perform at all. So just a big shout out. Thank you again. It's worthwhile because we really do appreciate you. Steve, any comments?
Well, yes.
And thank you for having the staff that you do. That reflects on you and your whole team as well. So I'm not saying that I mean it. I'm just not saying it. I do mean it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Steve Marks, Executive Director, Oregon OLCC still. The bill's not signed, I don't believe, on the name change. What an incredible week for this organization. I mean, yesterday watching Ways and Means move all of that legislation through, so much of it, so fundamental to the work we do in funding and literally everything moving. Comp to story agent comp, our budget, House Bill 3000, the vape bill, more. I'm forgetting a couple things there, just in one setting. Really incredible. Of course, the warehouse is coming with the bonding bills and the IT program yet to move out of Ways and Means to the full. It'll probably happen at the end of session. But it's not lost on me how much responsibility the legislature and confidence I think the legislature has placed in this agency to deliver on a lot of vital fronts for Oregonians. And we'll have a lot to talk about. I do count chickens before they're hatched. I'm starting to count here. We're getting very close to passage of all these things. The thing I would note is with House Bill 3000, I think we can expect it to the floor very quickly and to the governor's desk very quickly. I don't want to forget that we have certain obligations to promulgate immediate rules for that. And we'll be calling a special meeting of the commission with chair's concurrence, trying to time it up to as close as we can on following the governor's signature. So look for that, and very appreciative to a hardworking staff. And I'll note that a good senator reached out today to Mr. Chris Mayton for his work on the comp plan, and really shows you, is demonstratable or an example of the kind of recognition OLCC gets for its work. I must say that when I look, I don't watch every committee, I don't see every hearing, but we put a diversity of talent forward to carry our stuff in front of the legislature, and they do a great job from alcohol to marijuana across the board. So very appreciative of that, our staff as well. So thanks, and I think that's it, unless there's any questions for me.
Any questions for the director?
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioner Harper. I just want to mention the historic work we did last month. I cannot explain from my heart how exciting it is to have new business people every month, and especially when we are involved with expansion. So commissioners and commission staff, thank you so much for putting that all together, and especially the hard work of Director Fleming. I also like to share that we have upcoming Father's Day, and we have some people that have been touched by this, and I just hope that we can continually put our hearts together as men and to say thank you, not only mothers, but thank you, spouses and family for being so proud of all we do in regards to a business. And a direct question to Executive Marks and Chairman Rosenbaum: how are we in regards to replacing our lost commissioner in is that Southern Oregon, Commissioner Pausick?
He actually held the East at Large position, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. How? So what's the timeline on becoming a full commission again?
Well, we have somebody in mind for the Eastern District. We're not sure yet whether or not they're going to accept it or, but that has to be done through a process, obviously. We are looking, both of your terms, Commissioner Revelle and Commissioner Harper, both of your terms are up. And, if I had my druthers, I wouldn't look for anybody to replace you. I'm very happy with both of you. And, on the other hand, I guess the statute says that we have to replace, so we're looking, but we haven't found anybody yet, but we're looking.
And just to add to the chairman's comments, so, I don't see a package or slate of confirmations going to the Senate. It's getting to the closing date. Typically don't deal with those. So it'll probably go to, at a minimum, September before the next possible opportunity for the governor to forward any changes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's a nice short meeting today. I like that. And have a great Father's Day and Mother's Day. And well, Mother's Day is already here. So have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.